So I gotta be honest with you, this video is not exactly going to be like one of my usual ones, and it's gonna be a little bit more analytical, formally, whatever, and that's because it's not a usual video. Like I said, this one is actually going to be used for a school project. Hi, Professor! So that also means that you guys should totally like and comment on the video that my professor should give me an A. I am just kidding, by the way. I feel like to understand the FES cards, you need to understand what SEKAIs are, since they're fragment SEKAIs. And in order to understand SEKAIs, you need to understand emotion. And psychology of emotion is what this project is for. So that brings us to topic number 1. What is an emotion? Emotions are patterns of perception, experience, physiology, action, and communication that occur in response to specific physical and social challenges and opportunities.
Episodic, relatively short-term, biologically based patterns of perception, experience, physiology, action, and communication that occur in response to specific physical and social challenges and opportunities.
To also help you out, emotions are not drives, moods, affective disorders, attitudes, or personality traits. Here are some examples. Embarrassment is an emotion. Being cheery is a mood. Pride is an emotion. So now we must discuss, how do emotions work? Well, the way that this works is that there's an eliciting event and your emotions are a response to said event. There are 4 changes that you go through from the said event. A physiological change, like sweating or having your heart rate increase. A behavioral change, like crying or stuttering. A cognitive appraisal, which is how you see the event. And you experience subjective feelings. Knowing all of this brings us into our next question. What is a Sekai? A Sekai is a mysterious world separated from the real world. Sekai are built from emotions, but it is also said that Sekais are formed from feelings, which are kind of different from emotions, but I'm not really gonna go too deep into that. I don't want to talk too much about Sekais because there's still a lot that we don't know, especially with the World Link events coming out, but we have the general idea of what Sekais are and how they're formed. I know this video is supposed to be talking about the fragment Sekais, but let's first discuss Sekais a little bit more. I want to discuss tsukasa Sekai. I can't talk about Mafia Sekai that much because I don't know it that well. And the other group Sekais are made by a group of people, so I think it's a little bit more complicated for me to talk about them. So we'll use tsukasa Sekai as an example of what we've learned so far. So, how did tsukasa Sekai form, and how does that connect to emotion? Tsukasa saw a show, which is his eliciting event. The 4 changes that he goes through aren't explicitly shown, but we can also assume these things. He was definitely feeling joy and happiness as a subjective feeling. A physiological change that he experienced was probably an increased heart rate. His behavioral response was a giant smile. And his cognitive appraisal was that he sees this as an amazing and cool thing. Now the emotion he is feeling is definitely happiness, or somewhere along those lines. The emotion that the show causes him and his family inspires him to become a star. He does eventually forget about this and yada yada yada, you'll never become a star happens. But where does this Sekai come into play? Well, tsukasa Sekai is based on his true goal of wanting to make people smile. That goal comes from feeling inspired. That feeling came from his emotion of happiness, and he experienced the emotion of happiness because of the show that he watched with his family. If you were able to figure that out before I finished, congrats! I did my job and totally deserve an A, so again, make sure to comment below and let my professor know that he should totally give me an A. So finally, fragment Sekais. They're said to be formed by strong emotions or someone reminiscing on their past. Now I want to discuss someone reminiscing on their past for a second. I'm gonna go on the side and talk about Anna's FES story card real quick. Anna remembers back when she was doing art and couldn't finish certain projects, so she was frustrated. Her emotion of frustration even caused her to throw away some of the sketches. Through remembering that emotion, her fragment Sekai is created to represent that. It could also be said that her remembering her frustration that she felt back then caused her fragment Sekai to form, because back then she didn't really have a Sekai. But for all we know, I don't know, we never know. I could probably go on, but that's gonna go into Project Sekai theory, and that's gonna be even a longer video, so let's just move on. So let's get to the main point of this thing. Tsukasa's fragment Sekai. Tsukasa's fragment Sekai seems to go into the formed out of strong emotion category. Now, what emotion formed it though? I think it was inspiration. Let's run it through. I think the eliciting event is the book's ending. A physiological change Tsukasa goes through is that his heart rate probably increased. We can see it because he's calmly reading the book, and then all of a sudden he kind of just gets louder and, I don't know, goes all peppy and hyper.
最も感動的なシーンであるはずの少女の家にたどり着いた時の主人公は後ろ姿で描かれていて、 その表情の描写がほぼない。今こそその答えを見つける時かもしれん。よし、まずは最初から読み直して。
And with that probably comes an increased heart rate. Some of his objected feelings were probably inspired, determined, maybe even curious because he was curious about the ending. A behavioral response is he was talking loudly all of a sudden. He smiled and he makes his usual tsukasa poses. A cognitive appraisal that he has seems to be that he wants to figure out the ending of this book. So maybe something along the lines of, I can do this, or I want to learn. He sees it as a good challenge for him. Some bonus evidence would be that it seems right as Tsukasa is inspired to understand the ending of the book, the Sekai flashes and pulls him in. So now we know why Tsukasa's fragment Sekai is the way that it is. It's because it was born out of his emotion, his sudden emotion of being inspired to figure out the book's ending. At least that's my opinion. So a question you might have, why do fragment Sekais disappear? Simple. They're made out of emotion, and emotions don't actually last that long. They last anywhere from a couple of seconds to minutes. Sekais, on the other hand, are made out of more than emotion, and focus more so on feelings, which is why they probably last longer. So, some concluding things. So why is knowing about emotions important? Well, aside from using it to analyze your favorite game and using it for your final project, understanding emotions can help us understand ourselves and others better, and understanding them can help us understand why we do what we do. Anyways, I could have done so many different things with this project, but I just wanted an excuse to talk about Project Sekai, so I'll take this as a win. Let me know if you have any questions and I can try to answer them. Leave your own little theories in the comments below, and yeah, let's just hope for the best, and I hope you all are rooting for me to get an A. Bye bye!